Welcome back to the channel. Range anxiety isn't a phrase that I like very much because, well, can't you get that with petrol cars as well? I mean, if you don't put enough petrol in, you're going to run out. Why is that unique to electric vehicles? But there is something that can sap your range if you don't think about it carefully, and that is towing with an electric vehicle. It's not quite as simple as you might imagine. Let's get on with talking about how to tow with EVs. There's some brilliant ones out there, well up to the job. And I haven't just picked out the ones that can tow the most and to give you a list. I've considered other features and value for money. So let's get stuck in. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Martin Lee. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe and the bell icon so you never miss a show. Stay tuned to the end because you might be surprised about what is number one. But we'll start with number 10, the Polestar 3. Not in customers' hands yet, but I'm kicking off with the Polestar 3. There's a long-range, dual-motor version. Yes, it's pricey, 100,000 plus, but capable of towing 2,200 kilograms, all-wheel drive, 500 horsepower. You won't be caught wanting from the 107 kilowatt-hour usable battery pack. That'll get you loads of miles before you have to charge up again. Polestar, of course, coming from Volvo and Sweden, and towing very, very important to those buyers in the Nordic countries, so we think the Polestar 3 will be a very good tower. Number 9, the NIO ET7. I didn't want to fill up the list with just SUVs, and one of our favourite cars around right now is the ET7 from NIO. Won't be coming to where I am in the UK straight away, right-hand drive, so I can't buy it just yet, but oh, I'd like one. 90 kilowatt hour usable battery, good for 300 miles of range. What about 650 horsepower though in the NIO? Loads of power to get you and a trailer going, and an all-wheel drive powertrain as well, so loads of grip on wet or slippery roads. Less than 100,000 for this one. Yeah, it's another pricey one, and it's a little too expensive to go further up the list though, because we are factoring in value on this top 10. But it's a good spot at number 9. Number 8, the MG4 Long Range. Maybe controversial, this one, but I'm going to put it in. Not everyone needs to tow very large boats or caravans. You're not going away to a mountain retreat for the weekend. If you're looking for good value, a smaller car that can still tow when needed. Maybe a jet ski or a small boat down for some weekend leisure activity. The MG4 might be for you. Incredible value because the long range is less than 30 grand here in the UK. That's a 62 kilowatt hour battery, over 200 horsepower. Rear wheel drive only, but that's okay because when you're towing, the weight is on the rear axle anyway. And loads of capabilities. Now, it can't tow the heaviest of amounts, but it makes its way onto the list. Number 7, the Skoda Eniac. The Eniac starts off at just under 40,000 here in the UK, but you get the smaller battery for that. So I'd be going for the larger 77 kilowatt hour battery for the extra bit of range when you're towing. The Eniac is a great all-rounder. Plenty of storage in the back. You can even load 75 kilograms on the roof and tow 1,200 kilograms. Now, if you opt for the EV6 GT, that means you get the all-wheel drive, almost 200 kilowatts of power to get trailers and whatever you're towing moving in all weathers, and a decent charge rate as well, because you are going to go through the miles quicker when you are towing. A decent rate as well of 135 kilowatts peak on DC charging, not market leading, but very reasonable for Eniac money. Number 6, the Renault Megane ETec EV60. I'm a really big fan of the Renault Megane ETec, and I'm delighted to find out that it can tow 900 kilograms if you go for the 220 horsepower version. Front wheel drive only. It's a car that is really good value and gives the option of hitching a trailer the odd time. Prices for the version we'd have are around 36,000 in the UK for a 60 kilowatt hour usable battery, charging up to around 130 kilowatts peak rate. The Megane, at that price, I think is a rock star. It can even charge at AC 22 kilowatts. That's a really tidy top-up speed when you're stopping for lunch and towing on a trip. Into the top 5, here we go, the business end, as we hit the top 5, picking up the numbers, the Kia EV6 GT, because you get so much for your money. A long list of electric cars and SUVs that can tow around this weight, 1,800 kilograms of towing capacity, and the EV6 GT can do so much for its price tag of around 60,000. A comfortable family wagon when you need it, and if you want to have some fun, with your right foot, you've got 600 horsepower on tap. It'll do the sprint 0 to 62 miles an hour or 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 3.5 seconds. Holy bazookas! All-wheel drive with loads of grip and a 74 kilowatt hour battery. Really decent, but it's the charging on this platform. The Kia 800 volt architecture allows 230 kilowatts plus on a DC charger that can deliver that much juice. Now, if you are towing, you do go through the range quicker, not only because the trailer is heavier, but often it's the wind resistance that makes the real difference depending on the aero of the size of the trailer that you're towing. But heck, when you can charge that quickly, does it matter? Number 4, the Mercedes-Benz EQA SUV. The EQA matches its sibling, the EQE, in terms of towing capacity, 1,800 kilograms on this. Now, the EQE is a bigger vehicle with more range. It's double the price, though. So I went for the EQA at number 4. 66.5 kilowatt hour battery, good for over 200 miles real world range, charging at 112 kilowatts on DC. Look, if you have the money, go for the EQE, bigger battery, more range, but if that's the amount you need to tow with a smaller vehicle, I'd go for the EQA. Number 3, the BMW iX. We are getting into some serious towing capability now. The BMW iX can tow 2,500 kilograms. That's the best available here in the UK. Look, it's big money. You want to go top of the range and go flash? Get the M60 and it'll cost you 120 grand. Maybe get the xDrive 50. You still get 500 horsepower and 765 newton meters of torque, all-wheel drive, charging, recharging at around 200 kilowatts almost. It's hugely impressive and it might make the top spot on many lists. But not today, because there are 2 more that you should stay tuned for. What's going to be number 1, you'll find out in a second. Number 2 is the Tesla Model X dual motor. Now, we're giving second place to the Tesla Model X. In many ways, the OG tower, because the Model X has been around for so long and so many people in those colder Nordic countries really embraced the Model X for towing. Now, it falls behind the BMW just mentioned by 200 kilograms in terms of towing, and it has slightly less range. It's a practical car with a huge boot, potential 7-seater, but also a big price tag. If you got the money, 100 grand is well spent with this vehicle. However, the main reason that I thought it should pip the BMW is the Tesla supercharging network. It is everywhere. Now, pull-through spots aren't everywhere, and if you are towing, many places you're going to have to unhitch and then reverse into that parking space at a supercharger. But more and more, especially around Europe, and I've seen some in the US as well, offering pull-through spaces where you haven't got to unhitch your trailer. The Model X will charge up to 250 kilowatts on DC. And that supercharging experience is so dependable, so faultless compared to some others. And if you are towing, it's going to eat through the range more and more. I recommend that. And the number 1... Rivian fans saying, hang on a minute, because I'm giving this to the Ford F-150 Lightning. Couple of reasons some vehicles didn't make it onto the list, because they're not available everywhere, and we have a worldwide audience. But I just couldn't ignore this vehicle, which is a US or North America only vehicle right now. It's the Ford F-150 Lightning. With so many electric trucks coming up, I've mentioned Rivian, mentioned Cybertruck, mentioned obviously there's the Silverado coming from GM, and oh my goodness, who could forget the Hummer? But the Ford F-150 Lightning gets it on this list because of how well the software is geared towards towing, and it's getting better all the time. It's really good in cold weather conditions. Ford know their customers, and Ford Pro customers need these vehicles to work. Not available here in Europe yet, but if you're a US viewer, you must know all about the Ford F-150, and the Lightning can tow up to 10,000 pounds. That's 4,500 kilograms, double that of a Tesla. But it's not just the sheer weight it can tow. It's the way Ford have really tried to understand how these vehicles are going to be used. So when you hitch up a trailer, it adjusts the range accordingly. There's software and sensor wizardry that is learning all the time. They're collecting all of that real-world data from the early Ford F-150 Lightning drivers and using that to work out, okay, well, we thought the range would drop by 100 miles, but actually it dropped by 80, so we can start to adjust the algorithm, and it's a really important part of the appeal of this vehicle. No shortage of power, 0 to 62 miles an hour, just over 4 seconds. Look, everyone knows the F-150, rugged, practical. The Lightning charges really well too. It's got 11 sockets for onboard power, and one of those sockets can output 7.2 kilowatts. It's plenty to charge up even another EV. That's enough for me for now, but I want to hear from you. What EV do you like on the list? Did I get the order wrong? I mean, there's going to be a few people saying, what? You had done it differently, but that's okay. That's fine. Leave a comment below. Let me know what I got right and what I got wrong. Should we just have done a whole list of trucks? Possibly. Maybe ignored the small cars like the MG4. Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.